The Living Word in the City, Part 6, Global Tremors. Episode 41, The Broadcast. Darnell sat in a cramped living room on the west side as an old television flickered with breaking news. Across the globe, rallies identical to Pikes-filled plazas in London, Lagos, Sao Paulo, and Seoul. His words, once just Chicago politics, were being repeated in dozens of languages. Alicia leaned forward. It's spreading like wildfire. He's not just a city leader anymore, he's a mouthpiece for something bigger. Darnell closed his Bible, eyes heavy. And the beast was given a mouth uttering haughty and blasphemous words, and it was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. It opened its mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name and his dwelling, that is, those who dwell in heaven. Also it was allowed to make war on the saints and to conquer them. And authority was given it over every tribe and people and language and nation. Revelation chapter 13 verses 5 through 7. The room fell silent. Episode 42, Ashes on the Lake. On the shore of Lake Michigan, thick smoke drifted from a warehouse fire. Residents whispered that it wasn't just a blaze, it was an attack on one of the city's hidden prayer houses. Marcus stood with firefighters as blackened Bibles and hymnals floated in the water. They're not even trying to hide it anymore, he muttered. Darnell prayed aloud over the smoldering wreckage. Lord, let the ashes preach louder than the flames. A group of onlookers, shaken by the destruction, bowed their heads in agreement. For the first time, open persecution had touched the faithful in public daylight. Episode 43, Signs in the Sky. One night, the sky above Chicago glowed red. Scientists blamed solar flares, but the faithful knew better. People poured into the streets, snapping photos, whispering about omens. Alicia fell into a vision. She saw angels and demons clashing above the skyline, their shadows reflected in the lake. She collapsed, trembling, and Darnell caught her. They're fighting for the soul of this city, she gasped. And the city has no idea it's already in the balance. Darnell lifted his Bible to the heavens and declared, Lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near. Episode 44, The Global Net. The city rolled out its new Unity ID system, claiming it was for safety and resources. Without it, people couldn't buy groceries, ride buses, or access health care. Those who resisted were flagged. Marcus tried to pay for gas without the ID and was laughed at, called a radical. Alicia's workplace threatened her job unless she registered. Darnell gathered the crew in prayer. This is the net tightening. We're not just fighting for our freedom, we're fighting for faith itself. Episode 45, The Underground Church. With official churches either closed or compromised, believers moved underground. Meetings in laundromats, abandoned storefronts, parking garages. Scriptures written on scraps of cardboard, worship whispered through cracked lips. Darnell preached in a dim basement lit by candles. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John chapter 1 verse 5. Tears streaked faces as hope flickered like the candles themselves. But Pike's forces began raiding prayer gatherings. Fear spread, and yet so did the fire. Episode 46, The Martyr's Voice. A well-known street preacher named Isaiah was arrested during a rally at Federal Plaza. Cameras captured him declaring, Jesus Christ is Lord, not Pike, not any ruler of this age. Before he was dragged away. The next morning, his body was found on the steps of his old church. Official reports said, heart failure. Believers knew the truth. At a memorial, Darnell's voice broke as he read Revelation chapter 12 verse 11. They overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. The movement gained a new anthem. Isaiah's voice still speaks. Episode 47. The Shaking of Nations. Earthquakes rattled through Chicago, not massive, but enough to crack sidewalks and sway high-rises. At the same time, news reported tremors across Africa, Asia, and Europe. Alicia prayed in anguish, "Lord, is this the beginning of the end?" Darnell laid a hand on her shoulder. "It's the warning. He's shaking everything that can be shaken." The city's skyline shimmered in the twilight, some towers lit with Pike's banners, others dark and abandoned. The world itself seemed caught between collapse and climax. Episode 48. The Trumpet Call. One night, while the city slept, a sound like a horn split the skies. It wasn't on the news, but tens of thousands heard it. Some fell from their beds trembling, others clutched their chests in fear. Darnell and the crew, gathered in a South Side prayer circle, froze as the sound rolled through the night like thunder. Marcus whispered, "That wasn't no CTA train." Alicia's eyes filled with tears. The first trumpet. Darnell opened his Bible, hands shaking. The seals are opening. The trumpets are sounding. Chicago won't be the same again. The episode closed with the city skyline dark and trembling under the horn's echo.